it's more about like you know more about me than I do, right? How do I feel secure about giving my data to a machine? So basically, having more data, we are going to be able to personalize, avoid, let's say I can avoid doing mundane tasks. But then how can I be sure the more, let's say it's more about like you know more about me than I do, right? How do I feel secure about giving my data to a machine?
Okay. So I would say it depends on how enterprises handle data. Different enterprises handle data differently. So if you take IBM for example, we are hell bent on making sure we are ethical. The data that we have is legal. We don't infringe on copyrights. There is a whole team out there sitting and ensuring that this happens, and there is no hap, which is hate, abuse and profanity, that doesn't come in. So all the models that are built, I can speak for IBM and quote that as an example. All the models that we build, you need lots and lots of data to build models. So all this data is vetted out. You have a team looking into it, cleansing it, sanitizing it to ensure bias, hate, abuse, profanity, or PII, personally identifiable information. All this is removed before we make our models. And if the customer has some data, we ensure that is protected as well. So that is one of the primary concerns for every customer, right? So you will have to go with an enterprise who ensure you that they take care of this. That is the only way. So that is where AI governance has come into picture, where AI governance and data governance, where you know the lineage of data, and you ensure that the data is not accessible to people who should not access it, or visible to people who should not see it. And the models are also tested to ensure that it is fair, there is no bias, and it is explainable. When I say this, I'll give you an example. So you apply for a loan in a bank, it gets rejected. So you want to know, why did you reject my loan? So we should be able to explain to you that your loan got rejected for these three reasons, and those reasons should be fair. I shouldn't have rejected you because of your caste or ethnicity, or based on your gender. So I should be able to give you a fair explanation of why my model rejected you, right? So all these things have to be taken care of. So we have to go with enterprises who ensure they do this. Not everyone does.
On top of what you said, right? Let's say we go with an enterprise which actually follows this. But again, there is a point of data breach which can happen. Today, normally, if there is a data breach, there is a level of adversity which can happen. But if this is going to be like more of a sensitive data, and it's also if the impact of the data can be huge, though, let's say the enterprise is very morally right, and if the data gets breached, it can fall into the wrong hands, right? How do we avoid it in the generation of AI?
First thing is, AI can play a big role in security, okay? Where, excuse me, we can detect a potential breach in security very quickly. So it is a play of AI and the hardware. So, you have a bank where it is getting bombarded with, GPay payments or UPI payments. UPI payments happen several at a second for a country like India, right? So very quickly, you need to have that hardware which can process this and detect that there is a fraud happening. At the same time, you need to have a good model, AI model, which has seen the pattern and it understands that there is a fraud happening. So AI plays a very big role in security. So you were talking about data security. So with data also, lot of things are in place where people ensure that data is encrypted in place or in movement. Again, these are precautions and technologies which individual enterprises have to adopt and ensure it doesn't happen. And they have to, again, make sure that you don't collect PII information when it is not required. You have to ensure people are not given access to it. It's encrypted, stored in a proper way. Even if it's going to happen, you should have the technology or AI in place to detect that immediately and take measures.
There are a lot of measures that's happening around, right? Like the governance, AI governance that countries are putting together, I think, right? Like India was speaking about its own AI governance council or something around that.
So all countries have regulations around AI, which is coming out. One of them is the European Union Act, and US is coming up with something. So all these people require certain metrics from your model and from your data. So what kind of metrics? There are metrics to measure fairness, explainability, bias. So you need to ensure these things are followed and kept in place so that you don't violate those regulations. So AI governance, that's what it means. You govern the AI to ensure these regulations are followed. You also govern the AI to ensure that the data which is coming in is governed. You know the lineage, where this data came from, how it is managed, etc. And you also know the whole life cycle that this model has gone through, who has built it, what has it gone through. So all this comes into AI governance.